I just had my wisdom teeth pulled out, all 4 of them about a week ago. And after my surgery, I decided to go live and tell the story about what happened, because originally when the surgeon talked to me about the cost of my surgery, he said it was going to be close to $2,000. But he did tell me a little strategy about how he could get it for even cheaper. And we tried the strategy, and oh my goodness, it created for a pretty crazy wisdom teeth removal. Okay, enjoy this video. Okay, bye-bye. There's a couple things that I didn't really expect from the surgery that I don't think anyone could have prepared me for. So they obviously ask you, like, hey, you're about to go in for your surgery. Do you want to be like fully knocked out, the laughing gas, just freezing? And I was like, let's just do freezing. I'm not worried about that. I don't give a shit about any of that other woke stuff. Anyways, so we just did the freezing. Story time number 1, though, they actually moved up my appointment to an hour earlier, which I wasn't really ready for, but I told them I was ready for it because I just kind of wanted to get it done. So we had to race to the dentist office. I'm sitting in the chair, and the lady looks at me, the dental assistant, so not the actual one who's going to be doing the operation, and she's like, have you been talked to and briefed about your surgery at all? I just know that we're removing all 4. I'm getting a little bit of freezing. And they were like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then she like pulls me aside in like the lobby area, and she's like, do we need to talk about the finances of the situation? And I was like, hold on, how much is this fucking thing gonna cost? Because now I'm panicking. I'm like, oh shit, did I just agree to something that's gonna cost me like $7 grand? You know, like I'm like not ready at all for this now. She's like, well, we ran your benefits and unfortunately your benefits are up. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. How much will it cost? She's like, probably about $2,000. That's a lot of money, first of all. I also thought it was gonna be like 10 grand. So I had this weird moment of like, that's not bad, but then I was like, fuck, $2,000 is still $2,000 is still like a lot of money. I agreed to it, and I was like, is there any way like it can get cheaper? And she's like, well, depending on how long it takes. And I was like, what? They're like, well, you know, the surgeon will have other stuff to do. And so like, if we're able to free out the time, you know, it'll be cheaper. And I was like, okay. So as I sit down in the chair finally, and she starts putting like the numbing gel on the gums. So not the actual like freezing yet, but the stuff that numbs it so you can get the freezing needle. I look at her and I was just like, just throw as much in there. I don't want to do another like round or 2 because the longer this takes, the more I have to pay. And she was laughing about that. I was just like, that looked like a little conservative amount. Just be liberal with it. I've never experienced that much numbing in my entire life. Before I even got the freezing, I looked like a fucking chipmunk. Okay? I couldn't speak really well. I was like this, because like it got all over my tongue, and I was a mess. Finally, the actual doctor comes in who's going to be doing the surgery. He looks at me. He's like, "Well, Elijah, you ready to remove all 4 wisdom teeth?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I can't say anything now. And he's like, all right, we're just gonna give you needles. Now, one thing that I am kind of known for in the dentist office is falling asleep in the dentist chair. I'm usually pretty good. When they're doing a cleaning, when they're doing a filling, whatever it may be, I will usually, and I will be out in the dentist chair. The problem was, this was the first time I'd ever gotten a look at the needle that they insert into your gums. So as I'm laying down waiting for the needle of the freezing, I see it like kind of pass over my head. Oh my God. Oh my Lord Almighty. I have never been more scared in my entire life than seeing something that spanned the width of my vision as it went down. I was like, excuse me? Anyways, they start going to town on the freezing. He did the bottom ones first, and then he let me know that after they removed one of the bottom teeth, they would then freeze the top, remove the other bottom tooth, and then do the top. And I was like, sure, that's fine. They gave me about 7 needles along the bottom gums here, which is insane. Then they were like, all right, we're gonna go to town. This one was fully under the gums, so this one they had to cut. So I felt them cut it, didn't hurt. It just, you can like feel the pressure, right, of like when he's going in with the scalpel or whatever. And I felt him get to the tooth. And then one thing that they don't ever prepare you for is, do you guys know of like bone conduction headphones? If you guys haven't heard of bone conduction headphones before, basically it's like they kind of rest against your bone here, and that's actually how you hear the audio. You don't actually have it like going in your ear canal. Well, turns out that also translates to your mouth, like jaw bone. And so he says to me, he's like, you're probably gonna hear a little crack here. And before I can even question it, the sound that comes from your tooth cracking is a once in a lifetime experience. Cause it is so intimately close to like your ear, because it's just bone conduction, that I was like, I wish I could describe the sound to you, because it was just such a loud, you know when you like chew on like maybe like a jawbreaker and you hear that like crunch? Imagine that, but like ramped up by like 20 decibels. Like it's so intimately close to your eardrum. I just kind of went like, whoa, like I kind of reacted, whatever. And the doctor looked at me, he's like, well, you said you wanted to get this done quick. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, excuse me? To be very clear, he was not wrong. I did say I wanted to get it done quick. And then I heard another one more crack, and then finally they got it out. And then I felt like the string of him tying it, right? So, because that was the one they had to actually do an incision on. So once they do the incision, they have to like close it back up and tie it off. Then he's like, okay, we're gonna give you the freezing for the top ones now. I was like, sure. Freezing for the top ones was way more painful, but it was done pretty easy. He goes for this bottom left tooth, okay? This one, they actually had to grind out. So like they actually had to like cut it in half and pull it out in 2 separate pieces. And this is the next part that they cannot prepare you for when you go in to remove a tooth. The taste of like tooth powder. The entire time I'm like sitting there with my mouth wide open, and like the tooth dust is like going to the back of my throat. I was trying to like really understand what it tasted like, because I'm sitting there like, and the only thing that came to my mind was Doritos, but it didn't taste like Doritos. But the whole time I'm sitting there like, man, I'm craving some Doritos right now. Anyways, he then says one more time, he's like, and we're ready for another crack. Immediately, another crack, except on this side now. And that was to finally split it in 2 so that he could pull both 2 chunks out. At this point, that had probably been, I'd say, 70% of the surgery. He spent quite a lot of time on there, on those bottom 2 teeth. And then as he walks away, he's like, we're gonna wait for the freezing on top to settle in, but I'll be right back really quick and we'll get those top 2 teeth out. Motherfucker was not joking when he said quick. I shit you not, that man came back about 5 minutes later with literally nothing but a pair of pliers. Except they're like dentist pliers, not like fucking mechanic shop pliers. And he's like, are you ready for the top teeth? I was like, sure. This tooth was out in under a minute, chat. I have never felt that, like, holy shit. The doctor went in and he's just like, okay, I've got it, and brace. Boom, and it came out. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, holy shit. And you can feel it, right? You can feel like the pressure when you're under surgery, but you can't feel the pain. So I could feel him like grabbing the tooth and just doing like, doosh, and it like came out with like force. And he's like, all right, that's the top right one. I was like, holy fuck, dude. He's like, can you turn to face me now? It's like, yes, sir. The next tooth was even faster, chat. Boom, he gone. I was like, holy fucking Christ. I immediately was thinking about that scene in like GTA 5 when Trevor is like torturing that one guy and he like goes in and pulls a tooth out. I always looked at that scene like, you probably can't really pull a tooth out that easy. Holy fuck, I was wrong. Dude, my dentist was on a fucking speed run, bro. As soon as he was done, he's like, all right, see you later. And he walked out. I was like, what? And then the dental assistant like helped make sure everything was good, like put the gauze in the mouth and like kind of cleaned everything up. She gave me my like sheet of paper and was like, oh yeah, this is like how you'll need to take care of it, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay. I go to the front to pay. And chat, remember how I said that they quoted me about $2,000 for this removal? And they said it depended on the time? I kid you not, he knocked a whole digit off of it. It was just under $1,000 at the end of it. And I'm sitting there like, holy shit, my man did it in literally half the expected time. And I'm sitting there like, every ounce of things that I just went through, hella worth it for $1,000. It ended up being like 980 something. And obviously I'm very fortunate that I was able to afford it pretty much without any real issues. But the double whammy is I feel totally fine. 2 days later, I feel totally fine. Like I'm not even like, I expected to kind of come out of there like, oh God. I'm like, dude, this is, and so yeah, with the money I saved, I bought a PS5 Pro, chat. Look, I needed the PS5 for GTA 6. I was like, oh, now's a good time. I got an extra $1,000 laying around. The two things that caught me off guard by far were the audio of like the tooth snapping and the taste. The taste was ungodly. It was so weird. One thing that really shocked me is teeth are a lot bigger than I thought. Like they go like deep, you know what I mean? Like they're like, I was like, oh, the teeth will be this, but they're like just fucking long, dude. They go deep in there. Walked out of that surgery, came home, changed the gauze. You're supposed to change the gauze every, what, like 30 minutes until the bleeding stops. I changed gauze every 30 minutes. You know what I ended up doing? I ended up putting the steam machine in the bedroom with the TV. And so I actually gamed on the steam machine for the last like day and a half. Just playing some fucking couch PC games. Dude, it's actually been so nice. I was just like, oh, this is fucking sick. I remember the first time I replaced my bandages after my wisdom teeth were taken out. It was weird. See, I actually didn't find it that weird. I just had like folded pieces of gauze go right between them and I just like bit down on them. So every time I went to change them, I just like leaned over the trash can and was like, bleh. Just like blood. And like paper towel came out and then I'd like, or gauze. And then I threw the next patches in. Like fucking quick reload. It's like, bleh. Oh, I sneezed once. And everything else had been totally fine with like the surgery stuff. But the sneeze that I had, holy fuck, that hurt. I thought I reopened like the stitching or something. But turned out I was just a big baby and it just hurt. But yeah, feeling good.